Welcome, my friends, to the vault. So, I have had a few paranormal encounters, and have plenty of stories from family as well. I was going to start posting one every Sunday on my Tumblr, so I asked my siblings which experience they thought was the spookiest to start with. They chose the cat lady, and to be honest, I kind of pushed her in the back of my mind because I was so scared. I only told that story a handful of times, but I agreed and wrote the story out to share. But now, I'm back to thinking about her again, and I'm a little on edge, and really wondering if anyone else has seen this thing, or if it was just me. When I was 13, I was living with my mom and her boyfriend in his trailer. It wasn't bad. The only part I hated was that there was no store nearby, and the bed. The bed was an old hospital-type bed. The guy's mother had been through hospice in it. It was uncomfortable and always felt kind of creepy. The house itself wasn't bad. I was comfortable being on my own. Anyway, my room was at the back of the trailer. A long open floor plan led to the front of the home, where the kitchen and the living room sat, separated by a small partition. From my bed, I could see all the way into the kitchen and part of the living room. I had settled into bed one night, but I was restless and unable to sleep for a long time. After much tossing and turning, I had started to get comfortable and thought sleep might finally happen. But my back was to the open door, which I always hated, so I rolled over one more time to face the door. Then I saw it. I saw a figure standing at the far end of the kitchen. She had to be about 6 feet. She was lean and completely nude. Her skin was a creamy beige, dappled with very light lavender here and there. It reminded me of the freshly dead. Waxy, smooth purple and blue undertones blossoming about the body. I thought it was strange I could see so much detail, considering the only light was coming from the street light outside. The truly odd part, however, was her head. She had a cat's head, but it was almost papier-mâché mask-like. The eyes were closed slits, reminding me very much of a stylized Maneki Nico, but there was no smile on her face, no mouth that I could see. In fact, aside from the eyes, there wasn't much detail anywhere on her body. I closed my eyes for a count of 10, convinced I had just been letting my imagination run wild. When I opened them, she wasn't gone. She was closer. She was now standing at the edge of the kitchen and the beginning of the hall. My heart leapt into my throat as I stared at her. She didn't really move much. Sometimes I thought I would catch her head tilt to the side, or she would sway slightly. I closed my eyes again. I tried to think. It couldn't be my mother or her boyfriend. They were in their bedroom and didn't want to be bothered. I was smart enough to know what that meant, so I was sure they were busy, and this wasn't either of them. All the doors and windows were locked. We were the only ones in the house. This had to be my imagination. This couldn't be a real person. I slowly opened my eyes. She was gone. I relaxed. See? Just my imagination. Mother always said I was creative. I noticed movement in the bathroom. Slowly, she leaned around the corner of the bathroom, looking down the hall at me. I let out a small whimper. I tried to scream for my mother, but nothing would come out. I kept trying to call for her, but I was frozen with fear. All I could do was scoot back further in the bed, shake and whine under my breath. I slowly realized she only moved when my eyes were closed, but I couldn't stand looking at her. It made my heart pound out of my chest, and I wanted to puke. It made me ill to look at her, like vertigo. I closed my eyes one more time, convinced if I just kept them closed until morning, I wouldn't have to deal with her. I was determined to just go to sleep, just lie there and pray I would live through the night. Things would be better tomorrow. But I heard a loud shuffle and the sound of a body hitting the wood paneling. In my panic, I made the tragic mistake of opening my eyes. She was now standing right outside my bedroom door. I flung myself face first into my pillow, eyes squeezed tight. I finally found my voice and screamed bloody murder. One soundless scream followed by endless chants of "Mom! Mom! Mom!" My mother came flying out of her room and into mine. Suddenly, all the lights were on. Mom held me and told me it was a dream. I was in hysterics and managed to talk my mom into letting me stay in her room. I slept on the floor next to her bed. They kept the bathroom light on for me. They also locked the bedroom door on my insistence. After a few sleepless nights in my mom's room, then on the sofa with all the lights on, they moved my bed away from the door and got me a lamp for my room so I could shut and lock the door, have light, and sleep away from the door. It was surprising how quickly I got over the situation at the time, but looking back on it now still scares the shit out of me. What was it? Some detail for a good mental image. I live in a massive subdivision that surrounds a bunch of woods, affectionately referred to as the trails. I suppose the people who own it left it untouched in case they wanted to add more streets. Anyway, I live down the street from one of the main entrances that most people use and know of. My friends and I were a resilient bunch who liked to go out there and have fires, get drunk, and smoke a little, if you know what I mean. So considering we were out there so much, we decided we were going to build ourselves a little hideout, a fort of sorts where we could party and even camp. We ended up with a good small clearing off one of the winding paths, where we had set up a good-sized lean-to with some evergreen on top as our roof, and named it Bear Cave. Now for the incident in question. This happened back when I was about 17 to 19 years old. I had just gotten off work and had gone to grab some fast food. My friends had called me earlier, letting me know that we were going to meet at Bear Cave. So after I got home, I changed into some warmer clothes, as this was during the late fall to early winter, and it had been unusually cold that night. So I decided I should get out there as soon as possible, and decided to take my food with me and eat it there. Now, it's about 8:30 and the moon was barely visible through the trees, but knowing the trail like the back of my hand, I wasn't worried, and assumed they would already have a fire started. As I approached, I walked up to our hidden entrance, and saw there was no fire and heard no sounds. I took my phone out and texted one, asking where they were. They replied something along the lines of, "Sorry man, we're gonna be about 15 minutes. Great, I thought to myself. I ducked in and started trying to scrape together some wood and kindling to get something started. Unfortunately, everything was wet, and without a proper flashlight, this was before they were standard on phones, I couldn't get into the brush and dig anything up. Soon after, I decided I might as well eat and hurriedly scarfed down my 2 burgers. Before I knew it, I had been sitting there for about 20 minutes and still no sign of anyone. I tried giving a couple of them a call and after 5 minutes with no callback, I texted them. Still, no response. At this point, I was about fed up, and my phone was about to die, so I made a mental note. 10 more minutes and I am gone. At this point, I squatted down, holding my knees to my chest, and tried getting warm. My back was to our little hut at the back of the site. I thought I heard something behind me, a slight crunch. I looked over my shoulder, and from behind the shelter, I saw what looked like 2 beady eyes glinting from the little moonlight entering through the trees. I quickly and quietly turned my full body to face it. At this point, I feel as though I am about to throw up or shit myself one. But keeping my mind about myself, I slowly reach into my right, where I had laid a stick just in case something like this might happen. If it was a dog, it was big. And let me clarify, this was not a wolf, as I live in the south and coyotes do not get this big. Something wasn't right. It just stared, unblinking, as if looking through me, and made no sound whatsoever. I realized whatever it was, it wanted to come at me. Thinking fast, I decided my best interest was to throw it off guard. I threw the stick, and without seeing if it made contact, turned and ran swiftly out the entrance, expertly placing my feet in all the safe places through the trail, assuring I wouldn't trip though maintaining max speed. I didn't stop until I saw streetlights and was safely on the road. At this time, I see my friends pulling up, and all I told them was I saw something. They didn't seem too interested and tried to go out. I told them sternly no, and suggested we just go to my house. This seemed suitable to them, and so we went. I still don't know what I saw out there, and it was as though everyone forgot about it. I continued to go back there, but only at daytime, or if at night, only with a friend. But I will never forget those unwavering eyes. Okay, so Friday, 1:28 a.m., my friends and I decided to go for a drive. We sometimes like to go to the Llano Mountains near El Cerro to experience something that only happens in that area, paranormal and supernatural. Like any other time we do this, we go in my car and drive past Tome Hill, going towards the mountains. We park across from VHS, about 1.5 miles away. Then, we sit and take in the scenic beauty of the dark desert. Starting by listening close to anything and looking everywhere, being hyper-observant. At first, we saw a light in the distance traveling flat on the desert land, getting within about 1 mile away from us, then disappearing altogether. Moving on from there, we had, and I mean had, to see something else. Driving through the roads and flying past by at least 30 miles per hour over the speed limit, we turned down a familiar road. This is where we knew that something was about to change me and everyone else. Everyone, including me, 4 people in total, looked to the right side of the car. A massive black dog just launched at my car while I was going 45 through the road. We should have felt impact from the massive creature, but didn't. Both people in the back seat looked and saw this thing rise up from the ground and stand straight up on 2 legs. Absolutely huge and all black, with red eyes that are forever imprinted in our minds. I didn't slow down, but sped up, going about 55 miles per hour now, so it was probably about 20 yards away. They saw it rise up as if nothing happened to it. What's up, guys? Ghastly Ghoul here, and thank you so much for listening. I hope you enjoyed the video. If you liked the video, it'd be great if you would click that thumbs up button, comment, and share with your friends. Please consider joining the Ghastly Gang by hitting that subscribe button. If you would like for me to narrate your scary story, please send it to my email address below, or post it on the Free Horror Stories subreddit. Please follow me on Twitter and like me on Facebook, so you can keep up to date with what's happening with the channel. The links are below. And now, we must part ways, my friends. I fear you are living on borrowed time, for you'll never truly escape from the vault.